We shall see. And there we go. Thank everyone for being here. I'm going to take this headphone out of my head. Everything is different today. I am producing the show in 4K. I am doing this on a YOLOBox Extreme directly to YouTube, which is probably the best place to watch this because they definitely support 4K. I'm also going to Twitch, although I'm told Twitch does not support 4K, so it may be in HD for viewing, but I'm sending 4K because there's only one encoder for streaming, so everybody's getting 4K. And then I'm also sending this to LinkedIn. When I tried to send this to Facebook, Facebook only supports 1080p, so I kept getting a warning that I can't send it to Facebook, so it's not going to Facebook. So all those people who normally see this thing on Facebook, you're going to have to be over on YouTube. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, which supposedly supports 4K, I can't see your comments because I'm not using the API in Restream like I normally do. I am doing this directly from the YOLOBox, and because I'm going via RTMP, I don't get your comments. So if you want to comment and be part of the show, everybody go to YouTube or Twitch. I should get comments from Twitch too. Feel free to jump in and let me know where you're watching from. Yes, where you're watching from today. So normally these are my LinkedIn picture, but because I'm not on LinkedIn, that's not working. So everything is different today. If my audio sounds low, let me know. I am just touching into the yellow. I haven't figured out the, I haven't had a whole year and a half of dialing in the settings like I have on my normal setup. But I wanted to try 4K, complete 4K, camera to delivery 4K. That's what we're looking at today. So let me know how it looks. Let me know if the audio is in sync. Not that I can really adjust it much, but let me know. And then, of course, let me know where you're watching from today, because we've got a whole different thing going on. And also, I will be talking about 4K PTZ cameras. I've got 3 in particular. Tell me what streaming questions you have. Doesn't have to be limited to the cameras. It can be a camera question. It could be something else question. Feel free to throw it in the comments. You are here. I am here. We are both here together. And the whole point of being here together is that it's live. So, you get to actually have a question answered directly. If I don't know the answer, I'm not AI. I'm a real person in Dallas, Texas. I'm a real person. And if I don't know, I'll say, I don't know. I'll give my best guess, or I'll just, tell you that I don't know. And maybe recommend another place to get that information. However, unlike AI, I have over 20 years of experience doing multi-camera live production, so I can give you that. I'm not just going to regurgitate what AI can scrape off of somebody else's website. You could have found that too. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and I love to welcome everyone to the show. Where's everyone watching? We have that camera guy, 98, is watching from the East Coast of USA, and thankfully he says New Jersey to be more specific. But I don't know if you're in New York, Newark, or down by Atlantic City. Maybe you're in Trenton, Cape May, and everything. I used to live in Philly, so familiar with a few places. And the camera guy actually has a very specific question. I have a YOLO Pro and I want to add the one NDI source. What is the best PTZ option for the Pro? This is a great show for you. And a question like that is like, what's the best camera? And as I've always said, your needs determine the product. There is no best camera. So when you say, I need a PTZ camera, what's the best camera? Do you need an outdoor weatherproof camera? Do you need a 30x zoom? Do you need something small, portable? Do you need battery? Do you need Wi-Fi? There's lots of different factors come into which PTZ camera is the one for you. Moreover, other than NDI, which so many cameras offer these days, and PTZ. PTZ is a class. That's sort of like saying, I need a car, not an SUV. I need a car. What's the best car? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at the OBSBOT Tail 2. I'm looking at it right now. We're going to look at the BirdDog X1 Ultra, Ultra meaning UHD, Ultra HD, get it? And the Move SE 4K. each of these, the Move actually has several different models. And so I'll go through that in a minute. The BirdDog has two X1s. Because we're talking about 4K, we're only going to be talking about one of them. So they have a they have an X1, which is available in a longer zoom, but it's just HD. So we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the 4K. So it's the X1 Ultra. And then the last one is the OBSBOT Tail 2, which is their latest update to this camera. And we'll see how they compare. There's software differences, there's hardware differences, a lot going on there. First Alert Nation, watching from West Virginia. Our service is mostly news-based. I love to see videos that support independent media groups and not so much gamers, like Restream X. Oops, I guess I should put a longer time on that. This is why we use the YOLO Pro. Thanks. Hey, great to have you here. I actually don't have many viewers on Gamers. I've been pushing to Twitch, which is a gamer-centric platform, for years and have had zero uptake on audience and people, you know, subscribing and things like that. So apparently I'm not appealing to gamers at all. So I should be appealing to you. First Alert Nation lets me know the audio is great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And hey, Andreas, hello from Corfu, Greece. Thank you very much for being there. Unlike normally, when I use Restream, and I've talked about this a lot, I use Restream Studio. I have an affiliate account. You can go watch the Restream show. I go to LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and I get comments from all of those. Unfortunately, today, I am only getting comments from YouTube and supposedly Twitch. I have not actually verified I'm on Twitch, and I couldn't find it on Facebook. LinkedIn. I am not on Facebook today, so there'll be no comments from Facebook on today's show. So thank you all for being here. And again, if you're late to watching the show, let me know where you're watching from today. I'd love to know. And if you have any streaming questions, they don't have to be related to the cameras we're going to be talking about today. So let's get started. Wait for that to go away. Boom. It used to fade out. On the Pro, it fades out, but on the Extreme, it just pops away. So I'm going to give you a quick teaser today. All right. Well, we shall see if this is actually going to keep working. It says, no, I should be recording too. Yeah, record. Start. All right. I clicked to switch an input and it crashed. And I had to force the entire thing to shut down and come back. Not an auspicious beginning on the YOLO Box Extreme. So let's try that again. Are my camera's inputs working? Yes, they are. So I'm going to try to click the same thing again. All right, record again. Yes. Okay, we're going to see if this works. Supposedly I'm still live, although I've got no output now. Interesting. I've got nothing on my monitor here. So fingers are crossed. What do I want to do next? Can I just switch? Oh, and I lost all of my attached titles, which sucks. So I have an OBSBOT. I'm just going to pretend input that has 3 across because that has crashed twice so far. We're going to avoid that one, although it looked so good. I also have, if I continue down here, I have the Tail 2. This is NDI. This is via NDI. So Tail 2, Tail 2. So let me attach this here. There should be Tail 2 with NDI. And then we're going to go with 1, 2. This is the BirdDog 1, 2, 1, 2. And this is with NDI. And I'm attaching the titles again because when the YOLO box crashes, all of those locked titles that you had, they unlock. And then this is the Move SE. I really wish the 3 across worked. Really wish the 3 across worked. This is the Move SE, which would be this last title, and this is via NDI. So I have all of these cameras coming in via both. I'm hoping. Oh, yeah, my audio is still there. Ooh, via both HDMI and SDI. All of these cameras offer 4K via all of these methods. And I should be able to show you here, I'm going to put this up. This is the interface of the screen that I have. So you can see HDMI 4, 4K, HDMI 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is my main camera coming in. That ignore that. HDMI 6, 7, and 8. Those are all 4K. Oh, HDMI 5 is this screen that you're looking at. This is the screen from the YOLO box itself. So hopefully you can see. I don't have a program out at the moment. I don't know where it went. Maybe that's part of what crashed. And my bit rate is only 6 megabits. Interesting. Oh. And those are all my cameras coming in at 4K. It does not show me my NDI inputs, probably because it crashed and none of those are there. Although they did reattach. So interestingly, it does not show me the statistics for my NDI inputs. I would have thought it would have, but it's not. Regardless, we're going to take a look at these things side by side. So this is the Tail 2. And interestingly, that title stuck. So this is the Tail 2. You can see NDI is behind HDMI from the same camera. It's pretty close, but it's still delayed. Let's look at the... Man, I cannot imagine anybody still watching this stream with the amount of failures that are happening when the YOLO box Extreme crashes repeatedly. And I'm not holding back. I'm telling you what is happening. I'm not blaming, but if one piece of equipment keeps failing during a live show, I'm going to tell you that. That's why you come to StreamTek, because we're not attached to any particular manufacturer. I'm not here to just say, this is the best webcam ever. No, I don't do that. I tell you the pluses and minuses, and when something is screwing me live on the air, I get angry. So all my sources are screwed up again, and now I lost the PTZ Optics input as well, just from rebooting. I would reboot again, but I would really love to just do the show and not have to focus on working around things that are crashing. Anyway, my name is Anthony Brogus here at StreamTek. I'm just going to regroup for a second. I have no comments. I have no idea if anybody's still watching. So I will continue on, and failures are worth watching. It's not about failing, it's about overcoming failures. Well, yes, you are right. But given that this is the particular tool I chose to do this because of both NDI and HDMI 4K ingest and mixing, I don't have a lot of tools that do that. So I don't have a backup. Normally I have backups. Normally I can fail down a couple levels and keep going. Everything is going through the Extreme. Everything. Comments, recording, streaming, multi-source. It's all in this one box, and it's failing me. So I'm frustrated. But we will try to continue as much as we can. So, OBSBOT, BirdDog, PTZ Optics. Where did the PTZ Optics HDMI go? I don't know. That would be, well, it's not telling me which one it is. That might be, it's the red one. Yes, okay, so it's the red one. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to plug it back in. Maybe it'll recover. Hey! No, it was there for a second, then went away. I don't know. So normally you're not supposed to be doing this. There it is, and there it goes. There it is. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to cover was, and you can see this is my screen. Boo, 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 boo. I have audio mixing. I have the audio mixing on the right. And on the left, I have my cameras. You can see on the bottom here, I have me, the 3 cameras. I have the view of the Blackmagic itself. I can actually take this from above. You can see this. I've got a laptop over here to do this, to actually adjust the cameras. The Tail 2, the OBSBOT Tail 2, looks a little dark. And that's something I have found consistently with the OBSBOT, is that the auto metering, sometimes I don't know what it's metering. Like, I could be in front of my blue backdrop and everything, and then it'll just suddenly get darker, or it'll suddenly get brighter. No matter if I have it set on face or area, it just does that. Unless you put it into manual exposure, then it does what it's told, which is great. Love manual exposure. But if I say expose for the face, and it's got this really good auto tracking capability, so it knows where the face is. If it's set to expose for the face and it knows where the face is, you would think maintaining a good exposure on the face would be fairly easy, but it seems to be an issue with the OBSBOT. The BirdDog has come a long way, and I'm on the BirdDog now. This is the X1 Ultra in 4K, and thankfully the cameras are not attached to the YOLO box, because I have zoomed them all in so they all have kind of the same shot for the 3 across that I'm not going to touch. It would be so good though. I did it before I was recording and streaming, and it worked great. It looked awesome. And you just being able to see the comparison of all 3 against each other was just so good. But I dare not touch it again. BirdDog has come a long way. Their control panel is just so deep with functionality, as well as AI tracking and things like that. So BirdDog is also a very good choice in terms of having a wide breadth of cameras. OBSBOT has the Tail 2, which is a really good 4K PTZ camera. Actually, it's a 4K PTZ-R camera. It's the only one in this. Let's go back to that. The OBSBOT is the only one that is a PTZ-R. It actually has rotate. So if you wanted to do vertical right now, you could tell the camera to rotate. And the camera would rotate in the housing, and you'd have a vertical 4K. None of the others are doing that. The others would take a crop from what's there and give you that, but the OBSBOT is actually rotating. And in terms of quick setup, I have to admit, being able to not worry about whether the tripod is absolutely perfectly bubble level, because the camera can rotate and correct for a little bit of misalignment, is pretty cool. So that's definitely one up on the OBSBOT. It's also smaller, has a built-in battery, so in case of a battery backup, you've got a battery backup on your PTZ camera. It's wireless NDI or wired. Right now I'm using wired. The BirdDog is also wired. Do I have it? The BirdDog, I had to double check. BirdDog I have here, the X1 Ultra, is wireless and wired NDI. It has an external antenna, so you can even put a high gain or a directional antenna on it. So the BirdDog would be a really good solution for end zones on a playing field. There's one way down here and one way down there. You can put directional antennas, directional Wi-Fi antennas, aiming back to where you are, where the control room is. That's pretty slick. You can't do that with any of the other solutions. And then lastly, I have the PTZ Optics. And the PTZ Optics, it has the Move SE 4K, or the Move 4K. And it's available in multiple different versions. This is kind of interesting in terms of the comparison. There's one Tail 2. There's one 4K X1 Ultra from, here you go. I'll just bring up the screen. Let's go to laptop. Me next to laptop. Can I do that? Yeah. So you come over here. The BirdDog X1 Ultra is available for $14.95. And I'm just going to use, I'm not recommending B&H. I'm just using it as a very familiar source that ships a lot of cameras. So to set a bar across multiple cameras from one distributor, one reseller, that's just what I'm using for comparison in the US at the time of this making, which is mid-January. That's it. I'm not endorsing B&H. I'm not providing an affiliate link to B&H. You buy wherever you want. So right here, this is the BirdDog X1. You can buy them in multi-packs, which give you a case, controller options. They come in white and black. They have a infrared remote. That's the X1 Ultra line. If we go over to the OBSBOT, similarly, that's the S by S Tail 2. Do I have the, where's the OBSBOT? Tail 2. Oh, okay. Let's just do it this way. The OBSBOT Tail 2, it's their 4K live camera. It's $1,200. You can also get it with a physical remote, and I would actually recommend that. So it's $1,400. Let's go back again, $1,500. Go back again, $1,400. I recommend it with the remote because it's an easy way to jump between cameras very quickly, especially if you're going to do more than one camera. If you're going to like branch this out and get more than one camera, the fact that it's got a little joystick and it's got a zoom controller on the side, and you can go camera 2, zoom in, camera 1, do this. Or once you set the presets, which you can set up to 3 presets on the remote and save them, you can then say camera 1, go here, camera 2, go there, camera 3, go here, just really fast. So I like it. And it's not very expensive. But again, just to be clear, I believe the BirdDog includes the remote in the box. So you're getting a remote. It can switch between 4 cameras. The OBSBOT can only switch between 3 cameras. So the BirdDog is infrared. You can control it from front or behind. The OBSBOT remote is RF. You can control it from the other side of this wall. Very, very cool. Now, as I was getting to the point about the Move, you've got the Move 4K with a 30x optical zoom for 30x optical zoom price of $2,700. You have a 4x with a 20x zoom. You have a 4x with a 12x zoom. So, and of course you've got them in white as well. So you see there's a variety. There's 3 different optical lengths. So if you are doing something and you don't need the long zoom, you can spend $2,000, get the Move 4K with 12x optical zoom. I should be over here. There you go. This is the PTZ Optics. Make sure I'm pointing to the right camera. Yep, that's the PTZ Optics. So this is, you can see you've got options here, gray or white. You come down here and they've got different packages. They've got cases and everything. But the fact that this one particular model is available with 3 different focal ranges may be desirable to someone who says, listen, I'm going to have, 2 in the back of the room and then 1 in the front of the room, but I want them to be from the same manufacturer, but different zoom ranges because I don't need, you can save a little bit of money on that one, just getting audience shots and things like that. That flexibility is available within this one camera range, the Move 4K. So, and you can see they all have SDI, HDMI, USB, IP, all of them. The BirdDog, let's go back over here to the BirdDog. They don't have a picture of the back of it plainly, but the X1 Ultra, I'm just going to double check, is just HDMI. Let's switch back over here to the BirdDog, is just HDMI and IP. When I say IP, you got SRT, you got RTMP, you got NDI, whatever you want. The tail, I don't have a separate tail shot here. That's arranged differently. The tail camera is set up that there's really not a lot of space on the back of it. So you just, let me just double check. Oh no, I am incorrect. It has both HDMI and SDI. And you know what? I could probably just click on this picture here and go to the back of it. There it is. So you can see HDMI, SDI, NDI, IP flavors and things like that. So that way you have all of those things, audio in, audio out, very, very capable, as well as the rotate, as well as the internal battery. But you can see here, there is no external antenna option. They all offer power over Ethernet. They all have the ability to be powered over Ethernet, which is actually how I'm powering them right now. They are all being powered over Ethernet from an Ethernet switch, which has power going out to all three cameras at the same time from the same switch. So all this panning, tilting, and zooming on these cameras is being controlled from software over the network to tell the camera what to do. I do not have the external Wi-Fi remote connected to the OBSBOT to demo that. So let's go back to comments. Hey, hello from Austria. Thank you for being there. My YOLO box InStream is junk as well. I was using the InStream. It's long in the tooth in terms of updates. It really does need to be updated. There's certain really basic features like remembering what you're set up. So when you shut it down and you go somewhere and you come back, it remembers what all you set up, like different projects. So there's different things like that. But when Instagram all of a sudden threw up a 1,000 viewer, 1,000 like, subscriber, whatever, hurdle on Instagram, all of a sudden I was cut off because I was under 100 subscribers on Instagram. So no more streaming to Instagram with me. So I don't need the InStream. Thank you for your real world experience. This is what I'm here for. And this is what I think people tune in to StreamTek for, is the fact that I'm not tied to a reseller. I'm not tied to a vendor. I'm waiting for this thing to wake up. Yes, thank you. Go away. Can't get the computer to wake up because you couldn't see me. What is, sorry, I have to look down because it's not outputting to my main monitor. What is the effect if, for example, I mix AV cans and BirdDog, wait, gotta go back, or the Move One? Should we stick with the same make and model? The ability to match cameras is going to be easier if you have like all one brand of camera. That said, all of these cameras have amazing capability to dial in your looks. And again, I really wish I could show you the 3 across. I dare not touch it to make the stream crash again. Here, let me show you on the screen here. Let's go to overhead. Right here, there's a 3 across. And you can see I've got it lined up with all 3 cameras ready to, and this is the HD view, so it's going to be a little blurry. 3 across. It's all perfectly aligned, so you can actually compare all 3 cameras at the same time. And I've kind of dialed it in. I haven't manually white balanced, but I've dialed in the same color, same contrast, the same gamma across all 3 cameras. So the fact that they are 3 different brands, they still look pretty good, but there are some key differences that maybe I can show you just by clicking between them. So the OBSBOT, you can see this blue is kind of muted. If I go to the BirdDog, the blue is pow, the very good blue. And if you wanted to do a blue screen, that would be a reason to choose the BirdDog, because it's really grabbing that blue color. The PTZ Optics, it's more of a purple. So you can see just switching between these 3 cameras that I may look okay. If you look at me here, here, and here, you know, it actually looks better in the 3 across. The looks of these 3 cameras coming in via HDMI can be made to look very similar. You can dial it in. It's just if you want to do less dialing in, it's easier to stick with the same cameras. And I will say that almost always on every single shoot that I produce, I'm dealing with multiple different cameras. It's almost unavoidable. Yeah, if you're the NFL, well, you know, even the NFL probably specifies all of their studio cameras are going to be one brand of camera, whether it be Sony or whatever, and then they're taking in all these feeds. But they actually have colorists. They have people hired to paint the cameras and adjust the cameras to just look so perfectly matched. There's people That's their sole job in the truck, is to adjust dials, levers, and knobs to make sure all the cameras are pretty. Now, if you're doing this by yourself, that's something you're going to have to like learn and figure out. But on broadcast shoots, we cannot see the overhead. We cannot see the overhead. Well, that's interesting. When I click to this, you cannot see the overhead. I hope you can see the overhead. But anyway, this is the 3 across, and that's very interesting that the overhead would not be there in the live stream. Very weird. I will have to go back and look at that. Very cool. Thank you for the feedback. Is it possible to bring in an external YOLO box via the internet into another YOLO box? We use the invite option, but that's an email that won't open on their YOLO box. Yes, absolutely. If your 2 YOLO boxes are on the same account, the same YOLO Live account, when you go to add a web source, it looks to your YOLO Live account, and any other YOLOs that are streaming at that time will show up. So you could, and I've done shows on this, you can very easily do like a New Year's show and be producing from New York, let's just say. But hey, we want to go to Paris. So somebody's producing a little thing in Paris on a YOLO, and because they're streaming, I'm able to pull their stream in. Now, aside from that, you have to work out communications. Hey, I'm going to come to you in 30 seconds. Okay, now you're talking to, the US audience, and thank you very much. Okay, and then you let them go. You can only bring in 1 at a time, but once you come back to your local camera, you can then delete that source, add a source, select a different city, and then that's available. And then delete Chicago, and then bring up LA, and then delete LA and bring up Hawaii or whatever. So yes, there's a way to do that. I've demoed that. Now you can. So I guess if I bring it up directly, you can see it. You have to let me know if the 2-shot doesn't work, because the 2-shot is very, very important in what I wanted to show you in terms of controlling the cameras. So let me know if the 2-shot is working. So I thank you all for sticking with me. Hello from Austria. Hello from Texas. Thank you very much for being there. I thank you all for sticking around and watching the show despite multiple crashes. I will endeavor to continue the show and demo these off. So I really wanted to use the 3 across, but I'm not going to do it. So let's start with the BirdDog. So the BirdDog, I'm going to go to the laptops, because hopefully you can see that 2-shot works. Thank you very much. So now we will go to the BirdDog. And what I was talking about is BirdDog software, the BirdDog control panel, and I prefer the dark mode. You do whatever you want. You can see on the right side of the screen is the OBSBOT. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to focus on the left part of the screen over here for the BirdDog control panel. So you can see the dashboard. It says I'm doing 2160p. I've got, my stream. You can name the stream. There it is. I'm doing, the average bit rate is 32 megabits per second at 4K, which is not bad at all. Again, I'm using HX2 and H264 because I did not know if H265 and HX3 would freak out the extreme. Turns out, doesn't matter. Network. So you can see in the network control panel, you can come down here, you can set all your network settings. And some of this gets very deep. I am not an IT person. I just appreciate that they work on my local area network. And I should mention, all of this is going through 2 switches and a router. So all of this NDI is going through 3 devices, as well as my stream out. And it doesn't seem to be a problem. The 3 cameras are all going to 1 powered switch, which is on the tripod. That comes into a 8-port powered switch, which is on my production table, and that is connected to the internet via a ROG Asus 2600 gaming router, which has a 2.5 gigabit WAN port. It has a 2.5 gigabit LAN port, and then 4 more 1 gigabit LAN ports. The gaming router is designed to move data very quickly, a lot of data very quickly. My stream, as I just pointed out, is only 32 megabits, which is not a lot, but it has great Wi-Fi. It's handled everything I've thrown at it. It doesn't care if it's NDI. It just moves those bits quickly. So that's what I recommend. People always say, what router should I use for NDI? Netgear makes good routers, that are AV certified for NDI. Cisco makes some good things. And there's lots of good professional tools out there. I also feel, personal opinion, and I'm not recommending anybody, nobody's paid for this, that a good gaming router can also handle NDI because they are designed to move a crap ton of bits very fast. They're designed for gaming, so they're designed to just shovel things back and forth very fast. It's not a guarantee. If you go and get a gaming router from whomever and it doesn't perform, return it. Don't come blaming, don't come yelling at me. Hey, J-Film, good to see you, man. He is a fellow YOLO user. And boy, if you want to see something interesting, go look at the beginning of the show when my YOLO crashed multiple times in a row. And California, Pico Riviera, California, good to see you there, back in school. So continuing along, we're looking at the BirdDog interface here. You get your system setting. Oh, wait, with regards to the network, there's also Wi-Fi network. I am not using the Wi-Fi network, but you can set up 2 different networks on this thing. System, password setup, system update, things like that, light interface, dark interface. This is where you set all that up. Basic system stuff. AV setup. Okay, are you going to go by Ethernet or Wi-Fi, encode? This is for the HDMI. Now, in this particular model, the X1 Ultra, the HDMI can either be a copy of the feed from the camera, or it can also be a return feed of program or prompter being sent via NDI to the camera, and that HDMI can be put on a monitor right below the camera, so I could look at program over there by the cameras. If I leveraged that, that would have been a good idea. But given that my program out has died anyway in front of me here, wouldn't have mattered. My output format is 4K P30. You can see right here, that is the upper limit on this model, the X1 Ultra. The upper limit is 4K P30. On the Tail 2, oops, I'm over here now. On the Tail 2, the upper limit is 4K P60. We'll get to that. So that is something to consider. If you want a P60, the BirdDog is not offering it on this particular model. You can get 1080 P60, but 4K P30. Onboard tally is on. Right now it's white. E-ink display. Remember, these BirdDogs, they have a display on the side of the panel. They give you information about the BirdDog. It tells you what IP address it is and things like that. Very, very handy when you're setting up in a new location, or if you're using DHCP from a router. Some people prefer to have everything set to static addresses. I find my setups aren't that complex. I don't have to go through that trouble, so I just use the same router. I take it with me, and then I just let them all appear. Primary encoder settings, you can see I'm doing NDI-HX, H.264, 2160p30. I'm doing the high quality mode. There's high, medium, and low, and a custom. You can dial in certain things here, and as you can see, I could do HX3 at 264 or 265. I can choose that here. It has a screensaver if the camera is not there or whatever. Secondary encoders. You can actually stream 2 different things from this camera. 2 different things. I have it disabled right now, but you can do SRT, RTSP, RTMP. So you can stream directly from the BirdDog just like you can from all of these devices, and that's where you would do it. Cam control. This is where it gets really, really, really complex. So camera control, there should be a window here. For whatever reason, there isn't. I am using, what am I using? Firefox on Windows 11. Is it asking me to update? Yeah, update available. Maybe that would fix it. Right now, for whatever reason, there's no picture. I have seen a picture on other computers on my network, so I think it might just be this browser is not happy. But this is where you can zoom, you can tele-wide, you can adjust the speeds, you can save presets and everything. And the nice thing about NDI, if you haven't seen all my videos about NDI, I love NDI, I'm big on NDI. These presets are stored in the camera. So I can set them on one device, and then those presets can be accessed from anything else. So if you have somebody, with a dedicated controller, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, here's 6, everything, then I can just sit down here as producer and click 1, click 2, click 3, click 4, click 5. I don't have to get into the nitty gritty. I'm just clicking presets. Let somebody else do the programming. AI tracking. Again, that's supposed to be a preview window. And you can turn the AI tracking on or off. I have it off. Your presenter or zone. There's this actually gets very deep in terms of where you want it to go, how do you want it to track, where do you want it to place the person in there, on the left, on the right, in the middle, things like that. This is very, very cool. And if you are needing AI tracking, if you are needing automated tracking, I'm not going to say AI because before the word AI came out, these cameras had tracking. If you need tracking, these cameras have it. Exposure, I have it on full auto with a -6. I don't know why, but all these cameras seem to be like, I expose here. No. So I have to tell it, expose where you think you should expose and then go down 6. White balance, I have it on auto white, so it's not doing a pretty good job right now. Picture controls, sharpness, noise reduction is in here, flipping, mirroring, backlight compensation. I turned the saturation down just a hair. I turned the contrast down a bit. I turned the brightness up a bit. That was so they better matched. But if that's not enough control for you, they have a color matrix. You can dial in adjustments for every single color. And that's where this thing gets, the BirdDog just really lets you dial in. And then with the free BirdDog cam control software, you can take your settings from one and paste it on other cameras. So once you get something dialed in, how you want it to look for this particular venue and this particular lighting, because lighting always changes, it's all rented. It could be LED, it could be tungsten, it could be a mixture, and it could be, RGB colored and everything. Once you get it dialed in, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Very cool. And then, of course, you've got an advanced menu where you can also adjust your autofocus zone, your autofocus sensitivity. And I didn't see it. I think it is in here that it also offers 3D so that if you are able to, if you're working in a virtual environment, it has the 3D output so that you can take that data and feed it into the virtual environment. It knows where the camera settings are. Then there's this new thing called Iris. The Iris allows a camera operator to not be where you are. And Iris is built into the BirdDog cameras. It's being slowly rolled out to multiple cameras. You can see it's available here. I can link this device with an Iris account. I think an Iris account is free for one camera, but then when you want to start adding more cameras or more studios, this studio, that studio, this studio, in this studio, or 3 cameras or 5 cameras or whatever, Iris also manages people. So you can sit there and say, oh, I want Bob to have access to this studio, but not that one or that one. So that's what you can do. And then also the level of control. Do I want them, give them full access to the camera or just want them to pan, tilt, and zoom? So that's very cool. And then you've got a log out. So there I am back on the dashboard. And if I say, yeah, it's going to ask me to log in. BirdDog. It's a very secure password. That's what BirdDog started with, and it's just become so commonplace to me to log in with BirdDog that I manually set it back to BirdDog. Anyway, that has been the look at the BirdDog control panels. Let me go back to here. Thank you again for watching. MJM Film says, I see you're streaming in 4K now. Wow, yes, this is a special show. I have 3 4K cameras, the OBSBOT Tail 2, the BirdDog X1 Ultra, and the PTZ Optics Move 4K. All of these I wanted to show in their full glory here, here, and here. And to do that, I am using a device that can both receive 4K over NDI and handle multiple 4K HDMI inputs, and that is the YOLOBOX Extreme. However, multiple times when I have clicked on a 3 across, which happens to look just like this, when I've clicked on this 3 across, all 3 cameras looking at me right there, see that right there, it has crashed twice in a row. So I'm not clicking on that is the problem. So anyway, big difference. Yes. Well, I should say that my main camera, my venerable Sony, what is it? ZV-1, which I have always said that I really love, specifically for the fact that I can, I'm just looking for something to hold up. Here's my BirdDog. Here you go. I can hold up something and then boom, there it is. And then boom, there it is. And then boom, there it is. I love that feature, especially for a show and tell show like this. Killer. And it outputs in 4K. So, we're continuing along with the show with a couple caveats. I'm not able to show you everything I wanted to show, and every time I put the titles on the bottom of these cameras, it seems to not like me locking titles, and every time it crashes, it unlocks all those titles, so screw it. I'm not going to put them back on. Let's go to PTZ Optics. So this is the PTZ Optics. And let's go back to my laptop and PTZ Optics. Now, the key thing to note here is not only that the window is a little slow, the key thing to note is that I'm using a web browser. Let me collapse this. I'm using a web browser for both the PTZ Optics and the BirdDog. Any web browser, tablet, whatever. Web browser. So if you need to update something, you're only updating the camera. The web browser is just accessing the settings on the camera. As you can see on this screen over here, for the OBSBOT, it's a dedicated app. So if they add a feature to the camera, they also have to add it to the app. So you have to update the camera and you have to update the app to be able to like do that thing. So on one hand, it's kind of like, I kind of wish it was just a web browser. On the other hand, the dedicated app makes it so you can just cram it over here in the corner and do other things, like watch your actual program or something like that. So this is like if I was doing vMix, I could do vMix over here on the main screen, and then I could have the camera settings over here. Also, this app is not just for camera control. I got a little sneeze coming on. Thankfully, I haven't sneezed the entire show yet, but for the 4 hours I was setting up before the show, I was just sneezing constantly. You can see across the top here, 4 cameras. You can actually manage 4 different cameras in the OBSBOT, and I should leave that behind. Let's go back to the PTZ Optics. But just showing you the difference. Why is that a little tab and why is this a web page? Because the PTZ Optics is all on the web page. The BirdDog is all on the web page. You're talking to the camera and you're adjusting the camera settings in the camera. So you can see over here, I've got my dashboard. The dashboard itself is pretty complex. You've got your PTZ controls. You've got your, to save your settings and things like that. You have the speed, pan speed, tilt speed, zoom speed, focus speed. You can adjust all those. You can put them as defaults. Image controls. This is what I was talking about before. Copious image controls for luminance, saturation, contrast, sharpness, and hue. And then your exposure. I have it on auto exposure mode. And again, the exposure compensation is at -6 to get it to look like this. If I leave it on auto, if I put it back up at 0, the thing is, my head is overexposed. My face is overexposed. This, I would feel, is too bright. I'm overexposed on the skin tone, so I need to bring it down. I don't want to completely wash out the skin tones, and it's not that bright of a light, honestly. So I bring that down. Unfortunately, that also brings everything else down too. I'll bring it down to -5. it brings down everything else as well and kind of desaturates the color and things like that. Talking about color, white balance, red tuning, and blue gain tuning. Very cool to adjust those tunings. You can see blue is at 10, red is at -2. I haven't adjusted these. I actually set this, I updated the BirdDog. I updated the PTZ Optics yesterday, and then I reset all of the camera settings. I didn't reset the network settings because I still wanted to connect to it, but I reset all of the camera settings. So I did a reset. If I haven't adjusted it, it's a default. Focus, focus mode, autofocus, sensitivity, focus lock, focus limits, and then an advanced menu for inversion mode. So if you're hanging it upside down, 3D noise reduction, black and white mode, and then your control. Automation, this is where your not AI tracking is. Select the target, training compensation, training sensitivity, zoom level, delay. You know, you don't want it to twitch every time somebody moves left and right like this. They're shifting their weight. Just, you know, let it sit there like that. Let it exist. Target timeout, target loss. Then you got your mode, preset tour, zoom mode, motion sync, display info, and then your the settings for your various ports. Now that is all just in the dashboard. Then you get video configurations like, what do you want your encodings to be? As you can see, I've got my video stream 1 is at 4K H.264. I set it to 40 megabits. I don't think it's 40 megabits coming through, 30 frames per second, but you can see goes down to 15, as high as 30. So again, the PTZ Optics is a 30p 4K camera. High frame interval, and then your Stream 2 encoding. Now, the Stream 2, when you look right here, this is my Stream 2. That's what it's pulling. Let's go back into my video config, video and audio, scroll back down here. That's going to be 640 by 360, 2 megabits, 30 frames per second, and that is what I'm using for the preview on whatever I want to preview it on. Then all your audio settings. Let's continue down here, your streaming settings. Again, these things can stream directly. You don't have to go through a computer. You can talk to this thing and say, send this stream directly. Here's your stream URL, stream key, do it. Stream URL, stream key, do it. 2 streams. Remember, we were talking to the BirdDog. BirdDog does one. Here's 2 streams. Enable SRT, you know, RTSP listening, multicast settings, ONVIF settings. Now we're going to come down to NDI. You have a special pane just for NDI. What is the device called? PTZ Optics. What is the channel? Channel 1. So when I call it up in Studio Monitor, and I come over here and I say PTZ Optics, there it is, channel 1. And then this is the camera coming across NDI. NDI receive group is public, discovery server is off, multicast service is off. And for those that know, multicast is a way that if you need to send one camera to 5 different places, you don't have the camera stream being pulled 5 different times. It's basically turns into like a TV station. I'm broadcasting this, boom, boom, boom. You all have to pick it up. That's what multicast is. It's basically sending one stream out to multiple destinations and being received by multiple locations as opposed to individual paths. So that if you have 3 cameras like I have now, I'm pulling 3 different streams. But if I wanted to pull one camera to 3 places, I could do it with one stream, lowering my network bandwidth. Network settings. Obviously, I'm on DHCP. I told you my reasons for that. You do you, I'll do me. People work differently. That's the magic of this, is you can come in here and you can dial into these network settings and just set it up for you. Even your NTP, your time settings. I have it set on Central Time. It's looking at time at windows.com. Does it have more options? Mac NTP, custom NTP. And then your camera config, your profile settings. This is a really cool feature. You can actually set up multiple profiles. This could be useful for somebody that's working multiple different things in multiple different places, and the camera has to move around. So this room is daylight during the day. This is the morning service, bright daylight. This is the settings I want, the white balance, the detail, the contrast, all that stuff. Then we have a nighttime service. And that is after the sun sets, so it's all this old tungsten lighting. We have to change the white balance, change the contrast settings, bring the gain up, and do all this stuff. You can save them as 2 different settings, and you see them right here. You can set 1, 2, 3. You can have those 3 different presets set right here. Now, you can also download them and send them to other cameras and load them into other cameras. You can email them. That's really cool. Then you can come down here, your custom CSS, do, don't know what you're, doing, I guess, different settings for this interface, the custom CSS. Like I want this highlight, which is right here, to be a different color. I don't care. Device info. This is where it tells you what it is, what device model, the firmware and everything, and your system settings. This is very handy if you're using an infrared remote. This is where you tell it, like if I have 4 cameras, you have to tell that device, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4. Otherwise, you push 1 and you say zoom in, they all zoom in. You don't want that. Then your login, admin, and everything like that. Firmware check. You can check your firmware here, and then down here in the advanced part, this is where you can select that file that you just downloaded and upload. I just did that yesterday. Focus calibration, restore defaults. So this is what I did up here. I did a menu reset. It resets all the different menu things. I did not do a network or a factory reset. I did not nuke it completely after I did the update. So that is a look at the PTZ Optics. Again, thank you all for being here. If you're late to the show, we are doing this in 4K. I am streaming to YouTube, supposedly to Twitch in 4K, we'll see, and LinkedIn via RTMP. If somebody wants to run over to LinkedIn and see if they can find it, that would be great. It would either be under my name or under StreamTek. And don't comment on it. You have to come back to YouTube and comment, only because it's being sent via RTMP. And my research showed that LinkedIn can handle 4K. I have no idea if it's actually working. And Kilobyte says, just found you on YouTube. Well, thank you very much for being there. And let me see if I can wake this up again. Give me 1 second. I have to look at the computer nice and close. Okay, there we go. So now I can say, if you are watching me on YouTube, PC. Oh, really? Okay, never mind. That's not going to work. I had it all set up. You can find me on StreamTek on YouTube, and you can also find me on Streaming Media Producer. Why this has decided to, you know what? I am going to make this, I am going to fix this. Let's find my settings in, this is Windows 11, isn't it? Oh God, why are you opening so tiny? System, display, don't extend, duplicate. There we go. Boom. Oh, well, this will be interesting. I talk over here, but work over here. Yes, keep these changes. So if you are watching me on LinkedIn or Twitch, all of my main content is over here on the YouTube channel, where you can find hundreds of videos over here, including all the live shows, including the one we're doing right now. If indeed it actually did continue to let me reconnect to the same show, I'm really curious to take a look at my own show and see what it looks like when the YOLOBox Extreme crashed. And then I had to force reboot it, get back into the show, and did it continue streaming? I have found in previous instances, YouTube will actually wait, and then when it's building the file after the fact, it just smashes those 2 moments together. So it's like there's a glitch, but all of a sudden you're there, that you skip over that 30 seconds, 1 minute in between, which is pretty cool on a viewing experience, but you wonder what the heck the glitch was. If you also want to find me on Streaming Media, you can go to streamingmedia.com. I write reviews. I have a regular Producer's View column, and that is where you can find that content, streamingmedia.com. You can sign up for a free newsletter. If you want to reach out to me directly for consulting, you can go to streamtek.us. There's a Contact Me button in the upper right. Wait, let me go over here. Contact Us button right up there. I do consulting and can offer in-depth experience. I also created the B4 on Micro Four Thirds group. So if you want to take big old, really capable 22x optical zoom ENG lenses and put them on Micro Four Thirds cameras, that's the group for you. And not lastly, I also created a group for AirMix, which is a Teradek app that lets you switch multiple cameras wirelessly from Android and iOS phones. It's an iOS only switching app, but it's made for 5-year-old hardware. So if you have old hardware you're not using, this app is made for it because it was orphaned years ago and doesn't require the latest M processors on anything. Really cool. And then lastly, if you are so inclined, my sister has a art studio called 17secondsstudio.org. You can go there and find some artwork that she has created. Just peruse that, and if something catches your eye, she can send it to you. I will tell you right here, the rainbow connection right here, that one, number 4, is in my office. It's actually been in other videos, so you can't order that one because that one's mine. So that all said and done, thank you again for being here. Throw all your questions and comments into the hey, Kyla Bites is actually writing from Twitch. Just found you from YouTube. There we go. So Twitch is working. So thank you very much for throwing that in from Twitch. If somebody wants to see if they can go find me on LinkedIn, who's on LinkedIn, you can look for Anthony Barocas, or you can look for StreamTek. I don't know exactly how it would have uploaded. I just did an RTMP. It should be under my name because it didn't give me the option to push to the StreamTek page. So again, feel free to throw any comments into the, any questions into the comments that you may have. We're going to continue on because I've got one more camera to talk about, and it's kind of the oddball of the lot here. It is this Tail Air. No, I'm going to go back over here. There we go. So this is set up the opposite way. So this is the camera view. Hello camera. This is the Tail Air. And over here is the control panel. So it's the same screen I was using before. It's this same screen, but I've cropped out everything else just so you can see the video and the control panel. So, I touched on this briefly before, but this control panel at the top will connect to 4 different cameras and do a virtual camera output. I'm rolling over. Okay, it doesn't want to do a rollover now. Oh wait, is it the foremost thing? I think it is. All right, there it is, virtual camera. So it will do virtual camera. It will do recording on your computer, but the virtual camera thing is the actual really cool thing in that you can have multiple Tail Air cameras on your local network. Use this thing to do all your camera settings and then send the output of that via virtual camera into Zoom or Teams, whatever, and switch your cameras here. Now, it's not a full-fledged switcher. You're not doing pictures in pictures, you're not doing bounding boxes, you're not doing titles, you're not doing all of that. But the camera controls are actually quite extensive, including the beauty controls, which I'm not really going to get into, but if you were a gamer, this allows you to add lipsticks, shrink your face, make your eyes bigger, kind of weird digital effects that are happening in the computer. So it's leveraging your computer CPU to make these effects happen to your own video. Now, we're going to come back here. You can bring up a video preview, which I'll show you. Actually, I can't show you. Let's go over here. I'll drag it in. It does not work because it's the stream is being sent to NDI. In the console, it says I've got a card there. Battery's at 99%. It's the Tail 2. Here's my tracking. It's not AI tracking. It's tracking. Human tracking. You can do single mode or group mode. Very cool in that you can point this thing at a stage, and if 2 people, it'll automatically adapt. Very cool. Zone tracking you can set up for different spaces. I don't know about animal tracking or object tracking, but it's there. Zoom speed, how fast you want it to go when it's making those adjustments and things like that. Do not. I have turned off all the auto settings, and I just saw the light blink on this thing because it thought I made a gesture, and it offers gesture control, which I hate because I talk with my hands a lot, I move my hands a lot, and I have repeatedly set cameras to zoom and track and don't zoom back out, and it's just freaky. So I turned that off all the time. And it just blinked at me for some reason, indicating that it might be doing something. Tracking speed, super lazy. I like this. It's kind of like familiar. Super lazy, lazy, fast, crazy, custom. Presets. Here's your zoom control right here in the console part. So you can, you know, set it to slow and fast, and this is where you zoom it around. I actually have all of these kind of zoomed in to kind of match a little bit. So that is your basic, I guess, movement, you could call it, you know, tracking settings, where you want it to go, your different presets. Let's open this up, preset 1, preset 2, and things like that. Then you go into your image controls, your image style, standard or streaming. I don't know really what the difference is, but night view mode. No, I'm not going to use night view mode. Focus control. We're going to turn on focus slow, constant, or manual focus, autofocus. Do you want it to be global? Just look at anything in the frame, just the face, just the front. Exposure. You can see I have it set to auto exposure, but this one is only down almost 1 stop, as opposed to the other ones are down 5 and 6. I say global. I set it to global or face. I don't see any difference, but all of these cameras seem to be like they want to be brighter. And even when you set it to face, it doesn't take into account the face and say this needs to be at 80%, 80 IRE, 75 to 80 IRE, if you know what a waveform is. Here you can set your ISO upper and lower limit. So if you don't want things to get too noisy, you can say, you know what, don't go up past 1600. Very handy. But, you know, obviously I'm in auto. If you change this to manual, now all of a sudden this whole dialogue changes. Shutter speed, ISO is manual. I'm obviously very dark because the shutter, I can slow the shutter down. 50, I can turn my ISO up. There you go. That's again too bright because I'm being crushing. Auto, here's my exposure curve, anti-flicker and things like that. So let's put this back on auto exposure. There we go. And then we're going to close the exposure. You come down here to your anti-flicker, white balance. Auto, daylight, fluorescent, tungsten, cloudy. Until this update, I have always had issues with the tail auto white. It always seemed to be too warm. And as you can see down here, I have pulled it away from warm. This allows me this minute adjustment because it's still too warm. So I was able to like move it over into the blue area. And I don't think this looks blue. I think this looks fairly accurate. But if I take this off, then I feel it's too warm. And thankfully, this allows me to dial this in and just leave it there as opposed to having to do a manual white balance. You're on auto, but wherever you think auto is, don't be so warm. So thank them for that last update, which gave us this little adjustment there. Very handy. And as you can see, each of these cameras have a different way of doing kind of the same thing. They all give you similar capabilities, but different ways of doing it. And then come down to the image control. Now, key difference here on all of these cameras, you're able to adjust the image and you're also able to adjust the exposure. It used to, if you ever deal with webcams and you say, "Oh my gosh, it's too bright," and you turn the brightness down, you're taking this overexposed, crushed face and you're just making it darker. It's still capturing too much light. That's what this is. This is your post capture adjustments. Take the image I have already captured, whether it be over or underexposed, and now make it brighter, adjust the contrast, adjust the saturation, adjust the sharpness and hue. All of these tend to be a little over sharp, I think. You can dial the sharpness down. I actually did that on the PTZ Optics. But in the side-by-side, the 3 across, which I'm not going to show you, this one looked fairly good at the typical 50% sharpness. Then you come over here to more. Initial state is where do you want it to be when you first set it up. Device power on, power off. Oh, there it goes. Go back. There you go. Thank you very much. auto power off, timed power off, timed power on, which is could be very handy in a certain situation like a church. Power on automatically, be there, and then at whatever o'clock at night, turn yourself off. I should also say, as many people who have OBSBOT cameras, off is not off. And these are battery operated cameras. So if you are using a PTZ Optics, or sorry, I keep saying that, the OBSBOT cameras, tail air, tail 2, they have batteries in them. If you turn it off, you hold it for a couple of seconds, it goes dee-dee, and it turns itself off, it's not off. It's still partially on. The wireless signal is still waiting to receive a signal. You can still, from this software, see it over the network. The Ethernet port is on. You can then tell it from here to wake up. And so it's sleeping. It's not off. There is a way to hold it, I think, for like 10, 15, 20 seconds. I forget what it is. And that is off. And it's not going to slowly drain the battery. But when you put it to sleep, the battery will slowly drain over time. And if you travel a lot and everything, it's like, oh, I haven't used it in 2 weeks. The battery is not going to be at 100%. If you use it even more seldom, I need you to plan on the OBSBOT to either make sure you really shut it down, or you need to plan on having time to charge it back up before you use it. Unless you're on power over Ethernet, in which case you got power coming into it. But I just want to make it clear, the device power off, typically you're putting it to sleep. You're not powering it off, because you wouldn't be able to talk to it via software over the network to turn it on and turn it off if it wasn't already on and listening. It seems kind of obvious when you say it, but a lot of people complain for the OBSBOT cameras that I put this away. I had this sitting there. I hadn't used it for a couple weeks, and I turned it on. It's down to like one LED on the battery. What happened? It was always on. It was sleeping. UVC mode, you can obviously use all of these over USB. Right now I've got the NDI mode on. It does RTSP, SRT. You can dig into the settings of those things there. And then your media settings for recording to the media. You can see right here, gesture control. I have all the gesture controls turned off because they drive me nuts. Zoom factor is right here. The big difference between the OBSBOT and the other models is the other models are a true 12x zoom. The OBSBOT is a much shorter zoom. I believe it's 5x. It's been a minute since I did the video, so it's almost impossible to keep the statistics of every single camera I've ever done a video on in my head at the ready. So we can go to OBSBOT just to make sure. Do 5x optical zoom. There we go. Just want to make sure. So I get the 5x in the tail 2, and I've got a 12x in the other 2 cameras. Big difference when you're at the long end of the zoom. Now again, the PTZ Optics has different models with a 20 and a 30. You're going to pay more for that. BirdDog has different models with longer zooms at 4K. You're going to pay more for that. OBSBOT, this is the big camera, and they have smaller cameras. Smaller PTZ cameras, I should say, just to clarify that. So coming over here, I have all of these off. There's your zoom right there. And then you can also come into the audio settings because there's no built-in audio in the camera. It looks like it's got 4 microphones around it, but there's no spatial audio in it. There is audio input on the back. You can mirror the image. You can reverse the gimbal so that left is right, right is left if it's upside down and things like that. Virtual tracking, general settings, record when you turn the power on, buzzer, lights, brightness, and all that stuff. And logs and a manual upgrade. Let me click on the, see, this is where you would pair the controller, which I didn't do, and log. Yes, okay. So those are your basic camera settings. If I click on the beauty and bring this over here, you can see I can adjust the face, the body, the makeup, and the different things like that. I can, if I want to go to just the face, I can do the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, the mouth. It gets really detailed in tweaking how someone looks you know, and I have tweaked my own camera one time, and it was like, you know, I looked like JD Vance with eyeliner and lipstick and all that stuff. And I was like, whoa, good. So no, I don't wear makeup when I do these shows. Sometimes a little bit on my nose because my nose always appears very red, but that's neither here nor there. But you can see nasolabial, firm, chin, cheekbones, hairline, V-shape, length, narrow, and that's just the face. You know, so there's a lot of things you can do in terms of tweaking different beauty on the OBSBOT that you are not going to find on the BirdDog and the PTZ Optics. I would hazard to say that those are more broadcast cameras that have a, you know, a more basic, you don't even say more basic model, it's just less of a zoom, but they have all the software features. The OBSBOT is, maybe it's more gamer focused or whichever, but it has all of these beauty controls, and it's blinking at me again. It has all these beauty controls that the others don't have, because that's what that market can really appreciate. You know, the vlogger, the online sales, I need to look great. And if the camera can help me look great, awesome. The other ones come from a more broadcast corporate end where that's not a feature that people expect. So that is a big trade-off in between the cameras as well. I don't see a live on LinkedIn. Thank you for checking. So I guess, you know, it's pushing to LinkedIn, and when I double checked it, it seemed to still be waiting. So for whatever reason, that didn't work. But thank you for checking. Thank you. Sorry for all the questions. Absolutely. The questions help drive the show. We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I've covered the 3 cameras, but one of the things I also wanted to show, and we're going to try. So I have the OBSBOT here, and I have the OBSBOT here. You didn't notice, but I switched between the HDMI and the HX, and I'm going to push the multi-view, and if it crashes, I'll be back, I think. So ready, go. So this is the tail 2, and the one on your left is HDMI, and the one on your right is NDI. And you can see there is a slight delay between the HDMI and the NDI. And this is another place where I really wish I could show you the 3 across and that the Extreme wouldn't crash on me. But when I did the 3 across, you could actually see the tail 2 actually does the fastest. It has the fastest delivery off the sensor of all 3 of these cameras right now. So it's quite interesting. I wish I could show it, but right now I don't really want to crash the thing again. So let me go to the BirdDog. So this is the BirdDog. Ooh, interesting. That is the NDI, and the NDI seems to be a little bit behind. I think that is more of a Extreme thing. So let me go to the compare. No camera is going to be that far behind. All right, so we will see if I am back on the air. Again, I clicked on a multi-view and it crashed. So I don't know what it is with the multi-views, but we'll be sending logs to YOLO, so hopefully they can figure out, like, oh, okay, there's a scripting thing and it does not happy. So I'm going to try to click on the Move SE side-by-side comparison. Okay, that one worked. So this is the delay. Again, on your left is the HDMI, on the right is the NDI. Again, all of these are NDI HX. So this is the Move SE. Boom, boom. And then I think I need to like clear and then come back. So let's do that. Let's go back to my camera, and then we'll go back to, now that we've rebooted the Extreme Again, I'm going to try the BirdDog since everything's been cleared. And you can see the delay is not the delay it had a moment ago. So definitely the delay it was seeing with the HX was in the extreme, not in the camera. And I even think this is a little bit longer of a delay than I have seen before I was doing my recording and streaming. It did not have this much of a delay. The BirdDog in my testing before the show, and again, I've been at this for hours before I even started the stream. When I did the testing before the show, so I was not recording and not streaming, easier workload. I'm only at 58% on the CPU. The BirdDog and PTZ Optics were basically identical. So I would do this, they would both be identical. The Tail 2 was actually a hair faster than both of the other cameras. Why? I don't know. I'm not an engineer. But this is the BirdDog, and for whatever reason, the NDI on this input seems to be slower than the rest. Let me go back to, oh, my main camera is not there. Oh, there I am. So these are some of the idiosyncrasies. I cannot 100% say the variations between the HDMI and the NDI are from the camera. Because as we know, the timing errors we are seeing are different between cameras now than they were when I was testing the show. So the extreme is could also be contributing to color changes between the NDI and the HDMI. I cannot conclusively say it's happening here or there. I feel like a Dr. Seuss saying here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like crashes anywhere. I really don't. Oh, and that's why I had to send my extreme back. And yeah, it's one of the things where, you know, people have asked me, and I generally don't talk a lot, you know, like say one is absolutely better than the other. You know, if you need 4K, the Extreme and the Ultra are the only ones that are going to do it. That's it. So working within the constraints of what those devices can do and working with YOLO to fix whatever bugs are causing crashes is going to be required. But when I produce my show regularly, this is not a regular show, this is a 4K show. When I produce my show in HD regularly, that's all being produced on the Director Mini. And that's, you know, bulletproof is a feature. I need things to be bulletproof. So, but for today's show, I needed 4K to be able to capture 4K cameras via HDMI and NDI, switch in 4K, deliver in 4K, and in terms of being able to do that, I wanted to give the Extreme a test. And so I did. Let me try. I'm going to give this a try one more time. I'm going to try to hit the 3 views, but I think maybe coming from a clean camera like this one to the 3 views might work. If it crashes, give me 30 seconds. I'm back. Yes, it crashed while I pushed, as soon as I pushed the 3 across, boom, it did. So I'm not going to push that again. Thank you all for bearing with me. But for those who are still watching, an hour and a half into it, or for those who have just tuned in, I actually have a new special test where I have the OBSBOT outside. I have moved all the cameras outside. I have the BirdDog outside. I have the PTZ Optics outside. Apparently that one's we're going to go to the settings again. Side-by-side PTZ Optics. And we're going to go to video config, audio and video, I think it is. Not now. Nope. Dashboard. Yes. Image. Exposure. Auto exposure. Manual. Auto. There we go. I don't know why these cameras have such a difficulty finding decent exposure. So let us zoom all the way back out. That is all the way out. Let us go to the BirdDog and click on the BirdDog settings and cam control, and we are going to go wide. And let us go to the OBSBOT, and where were we? Console, all the way down. No, it's not here. It's somewhere else. It's here. I don't know why it's here and not the other place. We're going to zoom that one all the way out. So now, and you can see image for this exposure. This seems a little bit dark. So I'm going to bring this up to 0. That is natural exposure, global. And then the PTZ Optics looks a little dark. So let's go back to PTZ Optics, and we are going to put less of a compensation on here. So let me bring this up here. So we have the OBSBOT, we have the BirdDog, and we have the PTZ Optics. And all of these have been zoomed all the way out. So you can see that we are definitely starting a bit closer with the PTZ Optics. The BirdDog is a little wider, and then the OBSBOT is wider still. Actually kind of interesting that the left-hand side is matching with that tree. So I did not plan that, but cool. So the trees on the left, you can see OBSBOT is the widest. Again, if you're watching this in 4K on YouTube, again, if you're watching this on 4K on YouTube, this is kind of a treat because there's lots of detail going on. There's lots of trees and shadows and leaves in here. This is the OBSBOT at 4K, full wide. This is the BirdDog at 4K, full wide. Actually, I can bring that exposure down a bit. It seems to be a little bit bright. I'm already at -6. Let me go in the manual and put it back in the full auto again. See if it can figure itself out. Get a little dark. No, it's still a little bit on the bright side to me. I'm going to go to -7. And maybe, is there -8? No, there's -7. That's all the way down on the exposure control. As you can see right here, that's all the way down on the exposure control right there. Full auto, but go way down. There could also be highlight, compensation, saturation, sharpness, gamma. There we go. That helps a little bit. Deflicker? No, I don't need you to deflicker anything off. So we've got the OBSBOT, the BirdDog, and the PTZ Optics. You can definitely see the sky changes color. Bluish, more blue, less, even some yellow in there. And then this one is more red from the PTZ Optics. Again, I used to have titles over top of these things, but for whatever reason, they are not sticking when the machine crashes. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is, with the OBSBOT, I am going to zoom in. So let me come down here again to the zoom control. Oops, there we go. This is a 5x zoom. There we go. That looks pretty long for 5. So that's a 5x zoom. We'll go to the BirdDog, and now we will go to here, and I'm going to go to my camera control, and I'm going to say tele. So this is all the way in on the BirdDog. You can see there's a bit more reach. Actually, let's see if I zoom all of them at those leaves. Let me take the OBSBOT, and I'm going to move that. Let me go here. I'm going to go with the OBSBOT. Tail 2, OBSBOT. I'm going to move this over here so that they make a little bit more sense when I go to the OBSBOT. That's the OBSBOT all the way in, and that's the BirdDog all the way in. Now let's go to the PTZ Optics, and we are going to take the PTZ Optics all the way in. Oh, apparently I've got the 20x. I thought I had the 12x. So there we go. I've got 3 different zooms. I've got the OBSBOT, the BirdDog, and the PTZ Optics. And you can see that there is definite advantages to having a real optical zoom, because if I take the OBSBOT and I continue into the digital zoom, it will let me digitally zoom up to 12x. And then I will have to scoot it over to the side there. Scoot it to the left. See how this works. So this is 12x on the OBSBOT. This is 12x on the BirdDog. And I dare say that at 12x on the OBSBOT versus the BirdDog True Optical is going to give you more detail. Let me scoot this up just a bit. So you can see the BirdDog here, and then the OBSBOT here. Again, the 12x on the OBSBOT is a digital zoom. It's a crop of the sensor, or expanding those pixels out. It does not look horrible. It definitely looks better than the Tail Air in terms of being a cropped image. But the OBSBOT is delivering a crop of the 4K sensor, so it's not a full 4K, whereas if you take the BirdDog and say, this is what a full 4K 12x optical looks like, and then the PTZ Optics obviously is considerably closer. So if I go back to the PTZ Optics and I zoom out a bit to try and get a comparable image, it's a little tricky when you're zoomed in. I don't have a hand controller here, but here we got the PTZ Optics, the BirdDog, and the OBSBOT. Now, anyone can obviously go into the PTZ Optics and say, well, you know what, it doesn't look like it has as much contrast as the other one, so you can just dial in the contrast. You can bring down the luminance and increase the saturation. You could go in and tweak those images for the situation that you are dealing with, so that you can have the OBSBOT, the BirdDog, and the PTZ Optics. Obviously different tilts too. The OBSBOT looks perfectly upright. The BirdDog looks pretty good. The PTZ Optics is definitely on a cant. And that is what I was talking about in terms of the OBSBOT having the rotate. It has a sensor inside of it knowing where gravity is pulling down, and it orients the lens appropriately. So where the other two would have an issue balancing these things, I could throw the OBSBOT onto a tripod, and it could be a little bit off, and it's just going to This is how vertical should be. Actually, you can even take it and hand hold it. You can. I've seen people use these in cars, you know, and as they're driving and everything, and the thing is just, you know, it's a gimbal at that point. Question comes in: any ND filters on these? No, there are no ND filters on these. You have to either stop down with your aperture or with your shutter speed. You know, they all go down to like 100 ISO, and then if you've got bright sun like I do today, then, you know, the OBSBOT, let's do this. Let's go to the OBSBOT here, and let's go to the image, and let's see what it takes. Now, right now it's on auto exposure. Let's put it on manual. Little overexposed, I would say. Let's turn the ISO down to the minimum of 100. Still too much. I have to increase the shutter to 1/100th. There we go. Now we're starting to get, I'm at 1/200th at ISO of 100 on the OBSBOT tail air. And that way I'm able to get that exposure where the whitest bricks are not blowing out and the darker areas are still, you know, everything looks a little muted to me. I mean, maybe you could, you know, bring it up a little bit and then adjust the image. And of course, as the sun goes behind a cloud and then comes back out, that's the thing you're going to have a problem with when it comes to having a manual exposure. You got a partly cloudy day and you got an outdoor sport and the sun is going like this the whole time. That's why I really like auto exposure and the exposure compensation. You can say, yeah, when the sun goes behind a cloud and you naturally open up, do it. Follow that for me. I don't want to have to like do this for a bunch of cameras the whole game. Do that for me. But you always tend to be a little bit too bright, so do what you're going to do and then take away a stop. That's why I like the exposure compensation. The BirdDog website says the X1 Ultra takes a 52 millimeter filter ring. Thank you very much for throwing that in there. I do appreciate all of you viewing, and hey, just throwing that in there to answer the ND question. So yes, you can throw an external ND on there. I don't think that's possible with the PTZ, the OBSBOT, because the OBSBOT does not have a front ring. I don't know about the PTZ Optics. I could walk out there and look at it, but you don't need to wait for me. And the rotate feature is a huge time saver for quick deployments. Exactly. If you are doing weekend sports, kids sports, and you need to deploy over here, and then you need to go over there, and you can literally just pick up 2 tripods, carry them over, and put them down. If the ground is slightly tilted differently than it was before, it doesn't matter because the OBSBOT is going to auto level. And then from there, your left, right, up, and down are calculated. Whereas the other ones don't have that. And you're going to need to come over there and then bubble level it and get it just right. And then you should be good. It's an extra step, not terribly time consuming, but when you're talking multiple cameras in a quick deployment situation, yes, that does make a difference. The BirdDog, just for comparison, let us go to the BirdDog. And we are going to go over here and go into exposure. We're going to take it off of here. We're going to go to manual. Now, we have heard 1/30 of a second. Now you can see here, I have an iris control. I actually have iris as well. So I can go to F2, 1/30th, 60th of a second. Now this one is in dB. So I can't go any lower than 0 dB. I can make it brighter. I don't really want to make it brighter. So I need to increase my shutter exposure or close the aperture. It actually has an aperture. So with this, you're able to have, I don't know, some depth of field. Stop. Now, it doesn't have little up-down buttons like the other ones do. That would be kind of handy. And it doesn't adjust until I let go. So I can bring it all the way over here to 3,000, 10,000, but it's not going to show me that until I let go. So I would love to see them update this so it's actually moving the camera while I've got my finger down on the button. 500. 500 looks good. at f6. I really don't want to be at f6. And again, one of the things to consider is with small sensors, if you really close down the aperture, then you're going to get some softness to the image as well. So that's something to be mindful of. But let's look at the OBSBOT on manual, the BirdDog on manual. They both look pretty good. Even at f6, it still actually looks really good. Probably the f6 is helping with sharpness. Thank you for breathing, right as I say that. And as the cloud goes behind, let us go over and look at the PTZ Optics. So let us go here, and then we're going to adjust the PTZ Optics exposure. We're going to put it on manual. F of 1.8, that's not good. Let's start with F4 and turn the gain all the way off. Turn the dynamic range optimization not so much. It's a little freaky to try and adjust things when the camera is digitally readjusting things on you. We obviously are going to need to be up at around 250 maybe. Again, we're behind a cloud now, so let us compare these. The BirdDog and the PTZ Optics. The PTZ Optics is definitely brighter and bluer. Definitely bluer on the walls. So we're going to make that a little darker. We're going to take that to 350. BirdDog, OBSBOT, BirdDog, PTZ Optics, and here comes the sun. Thank you. Wow. Okay, still needs to be darker. Do I have an F5.6? And then we go up to, oh, there we go. That's 725, 725. I don't know where they get that. And F5.6, and it's going to get darker again. So you can see you can actually dial in decent manuals. I like the red on the bricks there. That looks nice. And the BirdDog and the OBSBOT. The BirdDog keeps hunting a little bit. Don't know why. PTZ Optics looks good and sharp. The OBSBOT is doing what it can with the digital crop. Color looks all right. The BirdDog hunting again. And maybe I've got the thing set on the BirdDog to be camera control, tilt speed, zoom speed, speed control. I don't see a setting to adjust how focus mode. Tilt speed, focus mode is auto, but I don't see a way to tell it to don't focus as fast. Because remember when we were looking at the OBSBOT, it was talking about, well, you know, I'm going to do things lazy, kind of casual. I'll refocus, but not too fast. And that could be something that's very useful. You know, back in the 80s and 90s with camcorders, they called it fuzzy logic. Today they would call it AI, but it's the same thing. It's software programming that tells it, like, if you see there's a difference, slowly adjust. Don't keep doing this. Would you mind going over and playing with the focus control of the tail too, please? I noticed I can get blur effect on the tail too. No, only because I'm zoomed all the way across the street now. The cameras are not in here. You can maybe get a blur effect in the effects setting too. There are blur effects in the beauty section as well, so you can tell it, here's the human, and the software is going to recognize human figure and then softly blur the background. That's one of the things it can do. It's not going to do titles and things like that, but in this software you can it's not going to be in these settings, I don't think, but I do believe if I were to go to the beauty, body, not those, basic, filters, here it is, blur. So you can add a blur effect in the OBSBOT software that will then give you that retouched blur, and then there's a blur level. I mean, I can turn it on, but it's not going to really have any effect. Native or advanced. Let's go to advanced. I can't click on advanced. It won't let me. Blur level. So yes, you can have, let's go back to this one. The focus control of the tail 2. The blur effect on the tail 2 is not in your focus control. It's a very tiny sensor. it's going to be in the blur settings of your beauty effects. So that's one of the things you can do there. Whereas the BirdDog camera does have the ability to stop down an aperture to 1.6. Now, of course, when you do that, you're going to increase more, you're going to deliver more brightness, so then you got to stop down with your shutter. So I don't really want to shoot a show at 1,000th of a second with 0 dB, but as one of the viewers mentioned, the BirdDog lets you screw on an external ND filter. So you can be outdoors doing a thing, have, 5 stops of ND on there so that you can have 1/60th of a second and a 1 point whatever, iris at 0 dB gain. You can have that. But then watch out for the sun going up and down through your whole show. So again, thank you to everyone who has, let's see, I've got a button here. I've got a lower third. Look at that. Does that work? I'm pushing the button. Okay, no, I'll push it on here. There it is. My name is Anthony Brokus here for StreamTek. Thank everyone who has watched for the past 2 hours during today's show. I apologize again for the crashes of the YOLObox Extreme. I will work with them and hopefully work these things out, and I can deliver more reliable, more interesting. I can use a 3 across without crashing. Everything has a cause, everything has a reason, and if I can give them the data that they need to make the Extreme not crash, to be more bulletproof, I'm all for it. I love bulletproof things. So thank everyone for being here. I appreciate you tuning into these shows. I'm going to have another excellent show for you all next week. So thank you all for watching. I will probably be back on my normal platform. So till next time, thanks for watching.